Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Visiting Lecture with Chandigarh Group of Colleges, Punjab from India. Welcome to the Honorable Dr. Rubel Jeet as a Associate Professor of Computer Science and Engineering. As for the topic today is software engineering. And for today's session is being live streamed on the Universitas STEKOM YouTube channel. And now I will read our agenda this afternoon. First, we will start class presentation by Dr. Rubel Jet and continue with the Q&A session after already presentation and continue with the time for picture for documentation and last time is closing. So let's begin. We will start with class today delivered by Dr. Rubel. The time is yours. Thank you. Yeah, for Dr. Rubel, you can start this class today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First of all, hello students and welcome. Today I'm going to deliver a lecture on software engineering, a discipline that's hearts of developing all the reliable, effective softwares. We need to rely on every day on software engineering, as you all aware about that. So it's just not just writing a code or engineering principle to the design and testing. It's really related to the software projects that are planned, execute, deliver, and structured and predict the outcomes, right? So now I'm going to share my slides with you to focus more on the topic of software engineering, right? Okay, so as I discuss about the software engineering, that is really and here to understand more on the projects, how they communicate between the client and user, the relations between them, and what are the things which we need to build between the client and a program or a business stakeholders and all the complex discipline, right? So let's start and try to understand and focus more on the evaluation and the factors which need to work on. Okay, so before start the different models which help us to understand more and focus more on the compatibility between the user and the programmer, we need to understand that there is nowadays agile is the most boom in the market. Agile software development life cycles are there. That is an upgrade version of software engineering. So we have a software engineering life cycle models with us where we try to analyze about the project. What is the project? What is the concept of the project? How to intercept between them? What are the iterations? What are the testing on the base of that? Productions? What are the reviews? So for software development life cycle, we need to understand more on the waterfall models. We have different method models, prototype model, evaluationary model, and spiral model with us. One by one, if we try to discuss about the waterfall model, that is basically for the small size of product or small size of website development, right? So it's a rigid plan, sequential plan. If you are planning for some like one project, a small project, which is not at all a very rigid project, not a large number of users are not there. So you always try to go with the waterfall model. Then we have a prototype model with us. That is basically the iterative development, means whenever the client is used to sit with the programmer or a website developer, suppose they just iteratively go and give the feedback of each and everything to the programmer, that this is a change I need to do. Because in a waterfall model, this not happen. In the waterfall model, what happened? They just go with the small project. At once they hand over the project to the client, then they will not give the feedback on that particular work. So prototype model is basically what? That alternatively the client is giving the continuously feedback to the programmer. Then we have a evaluationary model. Evaluationary model means some advanced incremental process or some advanced approach are going to be there. Some user feedbacks are also there. So when we have some old project with us, but we need to enhance that project with inculcating a more advanced topic on it. So what we do, we do go with the evaluationary model. That means the upgradations, right? Then we have a spiral model. As we talk about waterfall model, that is for the small project, that is for the small domain. So if we talk about a large project and if we talk about something big in the market, so we always discuss about the spiral model. Spiral model is basically having a risk management factor. Now, what is risk management factor? They always try to prevent the error. So this is a big deal. When you try to prevent the error, that means you are working on this project perfectly. Because at every phase, we have so many phases. So at every phase of the spiral model, you are going to cover the risk. We are going to understand at, like, we have a 4 phase in a spiral model. In first phase, they again try to see if any error is there, that they are going to remove that. So in every phase, the risk management take place. So which is a big deal. For the large project, this is a perfect model. If you develop your project, where you have a large number of users, where you have developing a product, which is a big one. So you try to prefer spiral model as compared to the waterfall. Okay. So let's try to understand more deeply on this topic. Now, the feasibility model. About the feasibility studies, we have a technical feasibilities with us. The technical feasibilities, that means whatever the things which are really required to understand about the technology and the resources which are available to support the project. Okay, then we have economical feasibility studies that examine the project about the financial. See, if you are handling a large project or if you are handling a good project, you need a quality also. But with the quality, the financial cost and benefit on that particular project is really important. What are the return investments are there? You need to take care about that. So we have an operational feasibility, that what are the evaluation of the project aligned with the organization process. It impacts on the existing system. So basically, what happened, the operational feasibility is also required. The project should be technical strong, the project should be economically strong, the project should be operationally strong, and legally too. So legal is like intellectual property right, where you can discuss that copyright with you if you're something, try to working on your project, which is some justice very similar to the other person, all right? So you need have some legal feasibility with you. So feasibility study related to the project is really important. When you're handling out some project or handling out some product also, legal feasibility is the one of the main agenda. Got it? Let's focus more on this. That is functional and non-functional requirements. Functional requirement related to project means, or related to a software that specifies the action is what? That define what is the system, outlining and behavior about the functionality. And non-functional requirement means how the function work. Actually, non-functional requirements are not totally focusing on the things that what happened. They are focusing on how this system develop, and focusing on the quality by just doing with the performance, security, usability, and liability. So if we focus on the functionality requirement, that means what actually the system and how the system is going to behave after development, how they are going to behave. This is the main agenda for the client, right? So calculating loan payments, display customer information, generating a report, this is a functionality part which actually consumer want, actually client want. And non-functionality means that is not a part, but yes, that is mandatory to be in the non-functionality requirement, like securities, the logins, the passwords, and all the things. Thank you. Let's discuss with the requirement gathering. how you're planning to gather information related to your product or a website or a project. If you are gathering a project, you need to sit with the, like, suppose you are a programmer, you need to sit with the client and discuss each and everything with the client, like user interview, directly engage the user to understand their need and performance and the main points. And you need to understand about the survey. You need to gather, just have to take, means if you are a programmer, you need to carry out a page where you need to rough jot it down all the things, the questionnaire, the feedback form about the survey, what the client actually wants. Because at the end, nobody wants that a misunderstanding between the client and the user take place. Document analysis, you need to sit and understand about the what are the manuals, what are the specification, what are the software requirements specification, what the existing system is, where we need to enhance the system. So these are the analysis take place. Then you have the observation. The user interact with the existing system to identify the workflow and the challenges. This is the main thing, because when we are going to start with the work, we always try to cope up with the work only, but we forget to analyze some challenges, some workflow, between that. So you need to go with a good observation about how to remove that challenges, if issues, some issues are there, how to positively cover up with that. So these are the requirement gathering, means how you gather a perfect requirement with these type of 4 parameters. Okay, so requirement analysis and specification is one of the main agenda now. So requirement analysis and the specification means, like, if you have a logging functionality, how many users are there with their names and passwords. So priority should be the high for the login functionality. There should not be any hurdle when you're logging out some website or project, you got some OTPs and all that. Then the password recovery, if a user need to, you just forget the password, they need to quickly OTP resetting or forward password function will take place. So that priority is medium, but it's mandatory and required to. Then the account creation is used to be able to create a new account with a unique name and password. Should not be repetitive. So this need to be take care when while you're developing a project or a website. So we have some challenges to work with the requirement engineering. We have sometime what happened when you talk about when you discuss challenges. So you have the ambiguities there, incompleteness when you verbally communicate about all the things. So this should be avoided. This should be avoided. Then you have the communication gap. Then what is the gap between the technical specification, or what are the hindrances for the development specifications? Then you have the changing requirement. If some projects are dynamic, right? So when the projects are the dynamic, that means that involve the requirement may change to be frequently changed. They have some client again visiting to the business person, and they ask to just do the changes. We have these changes. Yeah, I'm not satisfied with that. So this need to be work on it. So like conflicting requirements are there. Multiple stakes persons are there. They have a different needs and expectation that leading to work. If the involvement is more person are involving in particular project, definitely some conflicts are going to be there. So this should be a clear and cut. For this challenges, I believe you need to sit with the proper documentations, you need to sit with the proper SRS for the same, so that this will not be hurdle in future. Now, the trends and the future direction in software engineering. If I can say, the recent trends like AI, they are revolutionary software developments, automatic tasks are there, improvement efficiency, enabling the intelligent system too. So we have a cloud computing compatibility, scalable infrastructure. We have so many online tools available. Like we can person can work with the open project software. This is a good software. With the help of this open project software, you can maintain work on it. Then you have a develop. After that, after that, you have to work about the cyber security, right? So cyber securities are basically increasing the interconnectivity between this and required a robust security measure to protect the data and the system threats. Now let's try to more deep into the software lifecycle model. As I already discussed with you, that is managing the entire process with the initial planning, development to the maintenance. So let's start and understand one by one about the waterfall model, which I already told you that waterfall model is for the small projects or small things like requirement gathering. We have the first phase where user sit with the client is sit with the programmer, and the programmer is just gathering out the project scope, the user needs, the requirements. Then design. The state design involve the creative detailed design, including the architecture, data structure, or your user interface. After designing the website, we have our implementation phase where the team used to write a code and approval about the design. Then we have a testing where the testing need to be fixed with a proper deployment and work on it. Then we have a final phase of deployment where user and client sit together and just check it out that everything is working properly or not. And after that, the maintenance. Maintenance is just a feedback, and you have like if you have some warranty over a period that up to this will be going to be maintained by our team, and we work more on this. Then the next is prototype model. If you want to work more on the prototype model, that means basically the feedback. What happened in the waterfall model, that they are basically working with the process. So when they are working with the process, that means they are basically working with the quickly the user feedback. And the evaluation is also the functionality and usability. If we talk about the refinement, that means that basically based on the user feedback and alternatively improve the refinement. When user used to sit with the programmer, after 2 or 3 days, they are going to visit and give the feedback. Yes, this is perfect. This is not perfect. This will deal. This will work without. If they are satisfied, then only this will work out. So prototype is best as compared to waterfall because of the feedback, the regular feedback. Then evaluationary model, that means the initial release. This means the incremental of the basic version used to provide a functionality of the code. The user feedback is there. The alternative and refinement is also there. Then the process will lead to complete with the robustness of the project. The fine release are also there. This consider the complete and meet the user requirement, which is really important. See, incremental means when you're continuously upgrading the dynamic changes and the projects. On the basis of this dynamic changes, you got the so many impact analysis, so many release planning on that, and software upgradation is also there. Then you have a spiral model with you. The spiral model is basically the risk analysis. The risk analysis means the potential are identified and migrate throughout the development process. So for the large number of projects, you are dealing with the spiral model. Then the prototype model, they develop with the tested and validate requirement. These are the phases in the spiral model, and you can see this, the four phases are there. In each phase, they are going to give work on the risk management, that they are working with the that error is not there, then move to the next phase. If error is not there, then move to the next phase. So this is how the incrementally, no doubt, they are processing out. But meanwhile, they are working on the feedback, and meanwhile, they are working on the error. If any error and in there, so it's not, they ensure that feedback should be there to ensure that software meet all the needs. So this is how the spiral model work, and this work on the main big projects, heavy projects, right? Now, this is a comparison between all the models. Waterfall is something like flexibility, risk management is low. In the prototype model, you have your high flexibility, risk is moderate. Evaluationary is the same, but the spiral having the high flexibility, high risk remover management, and involve a high. This is an advantages and disadvantages. As I already informed you that waterfall is very simple to understand, well defined, but it is less flexible and difficult to accommodate with the changes. If you have a lot of changes, you're not preferring to go with a waterfall model. You always try to work with a prototype or evaluationary or spiral one. And the spiral one, this is comparatively good because prevention is better than cure. We always understood this term. So this is related to the spiral model. This always try to work with the iterative development and early user feedbacks. So can be complex, can be expensive also because we are dealing with a big project. So conclusively, if I talk about the right, you need to if you're working with a good project, you need to choose your right model, suitable model that you want to go for the big website, or you're going to develop with a small website. So you need to check properly about your model. That should be adaptive, that should be perfect, and continuous improvement is always required for the high quality software. So try to understand more on the next topic, that is design principle. So after requirement gathering on simple SDLC model, try to understand more on the design, because designing a software is also another deal for planning and structuring and the software architecture, the factor, functionality, the usability, and the performance. So design is a one of another main fundamental behind this. So for the design, we have a modularity, coherence, and coupling. One should very understand that a single big project are not going to check at once. We need to divide into a modules. That modules will help out to promote the reusability. If you are dividing something like in a book, you're not going to study the book at once. You need to divide that particular book into a units. So for the units, it's reduce the complexity of the large system into a smaller, so manageable. So if I talk about the coherence, that means I refer to the degree of module that are means high cohesive. High cohesive means that focus on a single task. So it's better to focus on a single task which is not depend on other one. So dependency is very less. Okay, so coupling means that degree of independent modules. That means a one module, like you have a program of calculation program, you have a calculator with you. So the calculator of addition is not at all bind or couple with the subtraction part, right? Addition have their own function, own interdependency, right? So low coupling is such a good indication, means the module are independent and they are not dependent on each other. Then layering out the software with a distinct level, the level interaction, not only this, but adjusting, improving the maintainability and the flexibility. So there is a function-oriented software design, that is DFD, and the structure chart. So how you design your website is just having a small DFD. DFD is also having a 2 or 3 level, like DFD 0 level, DFD 1 level, DFD 2 level. So 0 means the basic level. Like if I will give you a bank example, if a bank is interacting with the client, so we have a DFD 0 level means we are going to draw the diagram of the bank and the client. That's it. That is a 0. That is that extremely basic level, right? So DFD is a graphical representation of flow data with a system that focus on the transformation and the relationship. Okay. And the structure chart is basically the hierarchical representation. Like you have your teachers, then students, then first year students. So you have the hierarchy with you. So the hierarchy of over outline is depend upon the structure chart. Then we have a functional oriented design, means one function is performing a specific task that is bind with the another data flow, and the functional decomposition is there. So when you are trying to work with a function oriented software design, you need to work good with the DFD, your structure chart. If these things are perfect, then your program or then your work is also perfect if you're dealing with the software engineering projects. Object-oriented modeling using UML. So UML is also very important concept where we have a class diagram. That means you are representing a class, attributes, the methods, and the relation between them. Then you have a sequential diagram, the interaction between the objects over a time that shows the order of method they are calling. Then you have the user case diagram that describe the basically how the users are interacting with the function or with the website. Like there is an example that's shown here, airport checking system and a security system. When a person is entering into the arena, they just go ahead with the checking, then later on they just check out with the securities. So like this, we have a user case diagram also. Then we have a state machine diagram that describe the basically transaction over a life cycle. What are like how the machine is deployed to state and transition, like a bank is a good example where you have your unique account number. With that, you get all the details about your account transactions. So this is how this works. So we have an object-oriented software development. We already aware about the encapsulation. That means the data and method is hidden in a one single unit. Inheritance, when we allow to inherit the property of the same existing class to promoting the reusability of the code. Then we have a polymorphism that treats the polymorphism as a common, flexible, one-to-many form, right? So this is how the object-oriented software development is also take place under the development for the development of the software projects. Now, the user interface design means when the user research the needs and the goals for the same, the prototypes, the usability test. Basically, this is very low friendly because they just trying to jot it down everything are under process or everything is working with the things. So basically, they are just observing the interaction and identify which area is need to improve. This is how the interface design develops. So code standard and code review techniques, very important part to understand that how the code styling are working. Code style should be very good standard, having a good standard, consistent code formatting that work with the improving of the readability and the maintenance. Then we have a code complexity. If something is going to be complex or a poor structured code, we need to simplify that. We need to optimize the code to improve the readability and the maintenance. Code duplicacy should not be there. They should be removed on the time. Then the code comments should be understand and maintained by the developer to understand by the client also. Okay, so this is another phase which is very important to understand. When we start with the software SDLC, we work with the design, then we need to understand the testing part, which is very important when you're dealing with the testing. You need to test your code, whether a whole code or whether deeply inside the code. We need to understand that this testing is very important to understand that your software project meets all the requirement and quality standards. How you can deal with that, like a life cycle to identify, to fix the detects the before release the software to the user, you need to check properly line by line each and every code by putting up some test case or some values on that. So we have a testing fundamental of verification. The verification is basically ensure that the software is building according to the requirement and the specification. And the validation means that whether whatever you're ensuring the software meets the user requirement or expectations or not. Then you have a testing level with you. Unit testing. Unit testing means that one by one you're working on your modules and testing each and every module. Then the integration module testing system is basically when you are working with the alpha, beta testing and acceptance testing. Alpha testing by the programmers, beta testing is by the friendly work with the testing. And if I talk about the acceptance testing, that means I'm talking about the that a group of like a customer to whom you hand over the project is sit together and work on the acceptance test, whether they want to accept that product which is developed by the programmer or not. So testing type also there, we need to understand this is the testing types are like the security testing, performance testing, and usability testing. Now, the white box testing is very important part, because in the white box testing, you are testing focused more on the internal logics and software. Like you made a program in a Python, and line by line, you are testing out everything. Then branch coverage, like a code, just of small code, you're testing and inputting the so many values. Then the path coverage means that whatever the main function is there and the sub function is calling under the main function, are they are calling with each other properly? So this is a white box internal code test, testing the code line by line, one by one, like the true and false, you're checking the both case, true or false also. So white box testing is a deep testing into the bug. So yes, advantages are there, hidden bugs are improved, the quality hidden bugs can identify easily by checking one by one single code. Then disadvantage is obvious when you are checking one by one code, so time consuming part is going to be there. Similarly, we have a black box test. That if I talk about the black box test, that means I'm talking about the external or overall testing for the same. So overall testing means then you have the only overview, only just you sit with the website and just giving up the logging logout, or just giving up the simple concept like whether the logging a transactions is working, OTP is generating or not. If you give so many attempts, whether that particular attempts are working properly or not. So this is how it works. Now, just trying to understand next concept about this. The advantages for the black box testing is the user experience perform early with the development, and disadvantages sometimes it's a quick process because it's not time consuming. You're not checking one by one. You're just putting out some values and just overall checking that everything is fine. It's not cover each and every minute. So sometimes minute defects are going to be there. Then you have a test coverage analysis. The matrices of the amount of the code executed by so many test cases. You need to implement and try to understand and execute about the test code. What are the test code which need to understand, like if you have making a program, so you need to work more on the test case. Okay, and then you have the importance, the provide insight throughout the efficient testing. Types means the statement coverage, branch coverage, and this. So we have a tool here which help out to test with the analysis part, that is Jococo and Snorer Cube and Cobility. So we have so many test cases with us to understand one by one about the tests. So we have equivalent partitions also, the techniques, boundary value analysis, decision table, and state transaction. In the equivalence, what happening when you're giving the input value and selecting the test case and checking out one by one. Then boundary analysis means in an equivalent partition, what happened? We have, suppose we are collecting a data between the age of 18 to 24. So you check three cases: valid, invalid. But in an invalid, you're checking out less than and greater than also. So three cases are going to be checked in the equivalent partitioning. But in the boundary value analysis, you are working with the more than three cases. In an invalid, both invalid are going to be checked, that less than and greater than. But in valid, you're going to check minimum and maximum. Like n-1, if you're checking between 18 to 24, means you're checking 18, 17, 16 also in a valid, right? So this is how the boundary are going to be checked with the input ranges. Then the decision table, that means the combination of the action are performing, whatever the action you are giving to the code, that means correct password, wrong email ID, correct password, both wrong and both correct. So what are the outputs? Chain transaction is also when you are attempting, like in an ATM, you attempt a three attempts, right? You're giving a pin code. Then at the fourth point, when you give a wrong pin code, this will just block the account. This is how the state transaction testing take place. Hope this is clear. Then the second last fundamental for the same, that is mutation testing. Very important to understand the mutations. Basically, mutation testing is just generate a code that is called mutant. You have your original code with you. In a mutation test, you create a mutant, a similar code with some advanced feature, right? So in a mutation code, the mutant part, you check for the original code, you just keep it side the original code and start checking about the mutation code. When you feel like that mutation code is perfectly working out and just give a good output as you want, so you work with the mutation code only. But if you feel like the mutation code or the enhanced code of the original code, I can say, is not working properly, you killed that mutant code. So this is how the mutation testing working. You work with some additional features, a little change on the code. If working properly, that's good enough. If not working properly, you just delete that code. Okay. So running test case against the software is checking out the detection of the mutation score that indicate that how the test is going to work with the detections. Now the static and dynamic analysis, we need to understand that how the analysis of the code without executing the code. The static means the fixed one. You just need to, at the starting only, the code, you just give like int a is equal to 10. So you just fix out the value 10. You can't change at the end when you got the answer also. But in dynamic, you just give the input that int a, that's it. So the user input need to be work with that. So it's just give a glaive an example that how the static analysis and dynamic analysis take place. So you have a tools with you, find bugs, and the Sooner Cube, which will help out. So software reliability matrices is one of the main agenda to discuss, that is mean time to failure. See, when you're working with the software reliability, you need to understand about the failures, what are the time failures between them. That means mean time between failures, mean time failures, and mean time to recover also there, which is not inserted in this PPT, but recovery is also another fundamental. So when you are dealing with this, the average time between the failures means when you start with the T1 time T1, you go with the T5. Between T1 to T5, you have a two errors. So what happened? When you again move from T6 to T10, you will have the probability to come again with the two errors, right? So this is how the between analysis between failures, what is a consecutive analysis we are recurrently, frequently catching out, right? Then this is how the software reliability matrix is going to be checked on the basis of probability, also on the basis of the rate. Like this is how the deploy the production, how this will affect the industry fail rates is happen like this. So you can analysis that the mean time to fail means the average basically. In T1 to T5, we have an average of 2. So how we can conclude that this is an average, how frequently we get the error. So this is how the reliability growth on the failure history, data assumptions, deployment. So we need to work more on the test part. We need to remove the defects, and overall reliability need to understand. All right, so I believe the software testing is one of the important part that ensure the functionality work, improve the quality, validations requirement, that involve the techniques of manual, automatic testing, unit testing, regression testing, ultimately is enhance the reliability and reduce the risk. So that ensures the user satisfaction in the software product. So I believe this is this lecture will definitely enhance your knowledge, will work more on it, and try to understand by your own. So thank you so much. Any queries?
Yes, Miss, we have three questions from participant already right in the room chat.
Okay, so first, I believe With the increasing the use of agile methodology in the software development, how do you think the traditional software engineering principle like waterfall will hold up today? Are we still a specific case with the waterfall approach and more effective than the agile, it more considered updated now? So I believe agile methodology is something a lot of due to flexibility. They have a good approach with the iterative process. I believe this having the good adaptive changes in the requirement and project. No doubt the traditional is also work because that is a base one. But if I talk about that why agile is dominated today, because of the flexibility. The agile idea of the project is requirement that is unclear, some requirement evolves, so many frequently changes, which is sometimes not at all, not it's not allow the quick alteration. It need a consent of the feedback, regular adjustment, customer collaboration, fast delivery. So these are the things which we need to understand, that agile breaks a project into a small part, manageable. So we have no doubt on the other side, we have a limitation of the agile also, because it's work with a highly regulated environment, as we are studying here. So it's very strict, and it's need a audit trial basis. Regular audit trial is really required, and large and complex for the project that is best fit. So if we are dealing with some small projects, waterfall is a good one. But yes, I can say, despite of agile popularity, there are some cases which you can deal with the small projects. You can go with the basic one. Like if I can say, from the C language to C++ to the Python, so we have a chain, but the basics are almost same. So I believe at the conclusion, the waterfall model is not outdated. It's just a type of a different project than agile. We required a stable regularity. No doubt agile is a more flexible one. But yes, for the basic and small, where we didn't need so many changes which are fixed forward, we always try to approach with the waterfall models. Okay, so I think my query is solved. Let's work with the with I think so. This will be the next, right? So the question is, with the rising of computing and microservices, how the practices in software design architecture evolve? The foundation principle approach still applicable? Do we need rethink about the approach of developed with the cloud? Yes, I can say that cloud is another approach which is very boomed in the market, and which work with more on this part. I believe, yes, the person will work more with this nowadays, as this is also consist of your the architecture. You can go with the foundations like cloud computing softwares are available in the market, which can be help out to understand more with that. So you can work with the cloud computing part also, I believe. Okay, impressive the testing of engineering. I noticed a lot of testing, including the parts. Okay, fine. So let me check out with the next question. Okay, so next question is what? Okay, yes. Testing software with the growing complexity of system, how do you balance the need the comprehensive testing and pressure the delivery software quickly? Yes, we have a high quality of yes, we have a high quality, no doubt. We have so many deals with us related to that part. Yes, I can discuss this questions with you very well. See, software testing is including the white box and the black box testing, which include so many pressurized delivery software quickly also. But for the quickly software testing part, you can go with the black box. No doubt, the black box will give you a good understanding that whatever the demand you are seeing is work with that. But still, I believe if you go with the white box testing, no doubt that is a time consuming, but that will give you that strategy will give you high quality testing, right? You can go for the gray box testing also. This is another agenda which I didn't discuss here, but for this question, I can suggest you for the gray box testing, which is a combination of white box and the black box. If you go with that type of testing, yes, definitely you will, you will work more good with this. So this is another part of another discussion part of your gray box testing. If you deal with the gray box testing, this will give you whatever the question you asked about the high quality showing the slowdowning the development part. So this will also work out good. So I think I can go with the next also. So the next part from the chat, yeah. So the next part is increasing the use of AI in a software, the code generation, see the role of, will the AI tool? Yes, AI tool will help out to work more with that, to analyze more with that. So we have so many and another tools with us to analyze more and focus on AI part. That is, which I already show you in the slide also. That is basically your, I can share again slide if you want me to share, because I include the AI tools which help out to understand more on this. That is, yeah, that is your Findbugs tool, fertility work tool. That is your Jococo tool and Cavity tool and Sonal Cube. So many AI tools are also there which help out to work with that, but not in the big manner. So we can shift the focus. Collaboration with the AI is also effective when we sit with the code completion, testing part, when we sit with the design approaches like coupling, cohesion. So this is how I can say the AI tool is reshape many aspects in the software development, give the foundation of the principles, give the more focus. It's a guide basically. If I talk about the AI tools, it's a guide that just give a more strategic plans, focusing more on that, and ethical consideration should be take care. So I believe there are so many tools available in the market which help you out to work more and good with this. Okay, any other query? All right. Any other query related to that?
I guess no one else asking again, Miss. Yeah, okay. Before I close the session, for a participant, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three. Okay, one, two, three. Okay, another one, one, two, three. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for answering, Dr. Rubel. I think it's very clear answer from Professor. Yeah, before Yeah, finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to thank you for Dr. Rubal Jet for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for all participants. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future with Chandigarh Group College, Punjab, India. The visiting lecture for today and here. We hope to see you soon. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you so much for Dr. Rubal.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much, Nabita. Thank you.
thank you and bye bye.
Thank you, students.